coming up.
Well, first of all, John, I think that there's not a problem of resolving the problem of Formula 1. Formula 1 is not any problem. Formula 1 is a great shape. It's very simple. You check it. Sold out every race. The vast majority of people watch around the world are not caring about jewel, mega jewel, these clips, super clips. They don't know what we're talking about. So we need to stand up and explain to them the great form of Formula 1 that it is today. I don't understand why you want to be so in that respect. That I will respect your position. We are not stupid. We don't think about mega jewel. We think about the things that are relevant for the sport.
Hello, I'm Ed Straw and welcome to a very special edition of the Race F1 podcast. On Tuesday, the day after F1 made some rule changes to tackle the criticisms of the power units, we headed to Biggin Hill, where F1's Media and Technology Centre is. And there we had an exclusive one-to-one interview, or rather two-to-one interview, you could perhaps say, given Jonathan Noble was also involved, with F1 boss Stefano Domenicali. There in his office on the first floor, we challenged him on the key concerns raised by teams and drivers about the current power units. We also talked about future power units and also the general growth of Formula 1. And for a first question, I asked Stefano if he was happy with the outcome of the rules meetings and what impact he expects them to have.
I think that the process was the right one. I said that since the beginning that nothing has changed if you look back. When there is a big step change of regulation, it's natural that you need to wait and see the effect of it, even if it's only 3 races. And the process that has been taken by the FIA, the teams, ourselves, the drivers, has been the right one. Discussions, and of course, FIA did a good synthesis. And yesterday during the meeting was quite an easy call because the points were on the table were agreed by everyone, and therefore we will see what will be the effect in Miami. We don't have to forget one thing, Ed. It seems crazy, but it's only 3 races. The step change of regulation, and that is not only for the engineers but also for the drivers to understand how to maximize the performance, is still far away to be in the optimal position. That means that you will see development and improvement of the things by everyone that will be every race better. Therefore, I think that's what we will see in any case this year. We don't have to forget also another thing, that we said that the point that has been the one most highlighted by the hardcore fan was mainly qualifying, where there was not the possibility to be, let's say, in a sort of full speed mode, full, I don't know, whatever, you understand what I want to say. And I think that with the measure that has been taken yesterday, that is something that will be definitely improved, and we will see in Miami. But as you know, every track is different. And then has been something related to the safety concern of the driver in terms of speed differential that has been taken. So I think that this is the right thing that we had to do. But as I said, after Miami, I think that the focus should be once again, as it should, on the main situation we're having. So racing, action on track, and see how the drivers and team will cope with this incredible opportunity to improve every time. We're going to see in Miami, if I hear rightly what the teams are saying, a big step of improvement by all the cars. So that's where I think should be our focus. But I think, going back to your very short answer, the focus has been the right one. The process has been correct, and for which I'm very thankful for everyone. For the FIA was leading that in the right way, respectfully with everyone. So really good.
The changes are very sensible, rational. The process was very good. They will address some of the issues, but do you think this is now a closed book, that all of F1's problems are resolved, or do you think we're going to need further tweaks, further refinement as we go along?
Well, first of all, John, I think that there's not a problem of resolving the problem of Formula 1. Formula 1 is not any problem. Formula 1 is a great shape, just to make sure that it's clear to everyone. And the vast majority of fans has been, since the beginning, very positive what they see in the term of race action. You are the expert. You are expert on this matter. But we are getting sometimes too philosophical or too technical in things that the vast majority of people do not perceive. So I do believe that this focus will stay in the right forum, because it's the nature of Formula 1 to discuss and be able to improve, but shouldn't be at the center of the focus for the vast majority of fans. it's the nature of someone who wants to protect the business to react if they see that there is things that needs to be taken in a different direction. So, as I said, the approach will not change, but I think that the focus should now be really on what has to be done. If you're asking me also if this would be enough to answer to other questions that were posed before, maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. I don't have that answer. For sure, there will be a focus within the teams, the drivers, and of course by the FIA, who is the one that has to coordinate everything, has that responsibility as a regulator to think what could happen in the next couple of years. And as I said before, the focus of the FIA will be also the one that is what happened next, what is the next generation of a power unit, because these things has quite a long lead time, and therefore there is the need to start now to think what next. But this should stay in the right forum, in the right place where we need to discuss about these matters.
Regarding the next generation power unit, do you think there's a lesson in the situation here? No, it's not a disaster, but it is a little bit boxed into a corner with that 4 megajoule battery, with the harvesting demand. That's the hard limit that whatever you do, you're always going to be constrained by. I would argue that that's something engineered into the rules. I know why it happened, but I would contend there was probably a slightly better way to do that would have put F1 in an even better position. So is that the big lesson, that you need to maybe think about the consequences and the outcome and get ahead of some of these problems to make sure the product is not just as good as it was before, but better? You need to grow and improve.
Well, I think that, to be honest, it's not a problem. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I see that from a different perspective. There has been a sort of reason why we had to go in this direction. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here to talk about Formula One. There's no any manufacturer ready to engage. But now the manufacturers have understood that this, the future of the power unit, even for motorsport, could be different. So that is something that is part of the evolution of the relationship and the ecosystem that has changed so quickly that is impressive on one side. But on the other side, I don't see as a sort of a problematic these kind of things. It's always opportunity to understand how to maximize the performance. At the end of the day, the focus is who is the best driver with the best technical product that is available or has been discussed or decided within the different stakeholders that have to take that responsibility. And on that, I think that nothing has changed if you look at the past, because I want to say the polemics because it's not the right word, but I say the comments around that has been always there. Every time has been a change of regulation, there's been a lot of things related to why you did it, or this is a problem. But at the end of the day, people want to see the best driver managing, the things that they need to handle the best way they can. And also from the technical perspective, there has been a great evolution, if you look in the past versus today in Formula One, of new things that are that the nature of our business bring at the attention that will be used in F1 to develop technology. So that will be, I would say, the focus. And if you're saying I had a lesson learned, I think that the lesson learned that we are taking is this is the future. This is what is always happening. And the good things that F1 was able to do, it is to engage and to try, always to improve the things with the focus of the fans. Our focus are the fans. If we miss that, it will be just a technical exercise that is not really relevant for the vast majority of all people.
As you say, the focus is the fans, and it's difficult to measure this, isn't it? Because
no, it's not difficult.
It's difficult for some of us on the outside, let's say. Yeah. Now, you'll argue quite correctly, the social media reaction is not necessarily an entirely accurate barometer, to say the least. But obviously, you stated the majority of fans are positive about it. So let's see the evidence. What numbers can you give us, and where does that come from? Because that's at the heart of it, isn't it? You can say that's the case.
The heart is very simple.
You need to prove it.
It's very simple. You check it. Sold out every race. First things that everyone with their eyes can see.
Tickets sold before this year, though, for the most part.
It's amazing. No. Even now, so far, it's all good. So I don't see this negativity. We have data that, of course, our people can give it in terms of real numbers. It's all positive. You are getting 2 engineers. And that's why sometimes we miss the spot of people wants to have action. They want to see things that are creating the right place to fight for something. So personally, you know me, I'm easy. If there is something that I would say it is negative. I would say I have no problem to say that. We are always listening. At least me, you know me very well. So I'm listening. But someone has to take the decision. I mean, we are not here that we can offer only one product. And I was fascinated by some comments that came the other day when they say, listen, you see, there is a lot of attention now on GT. Yes, Max Verstappen is a Formula 1 driver. Put a lot of lights there. Kimi Antonelli, who is racing for Formula 1. He went to Imola, was everyone talking about Kimi Antonelli, and with all respect. So I want to keep it at the fact that F1 is still a bright light that is inspiring a lot of fans, a lot of people. Remember when there's been changes on the regulation and in the past. I mean, I go back because unfortunately, like you, we are following racing since many, many years. Has been always the case. Look at the bigger trajectory. Look at the bigger picture. Therefore, I would say on that respect, I'm really looking forward to see how this championship will finish, because there will be a lot of action on the track. Will be fascinating from you to explain, because the success of Formula 1 is thanks to what you're doing and together with us, because without your voice of explaining what is behind the scene, what is actually so fascinating, it will not be possible. So even us, we have the duty to explain that in a very positive way, because otherwise we will shoot ourselves in the foot. That this doesn't make any sense. But that is not a defensive position. It's a very natural position. Where we are standing today is a great spot, a great position, and on which we cannot deny that the success is also to keep the center of our attention the things that can come as an input, but someone has to make the decision, as always in life.
You talked about Formula 1 being the best drivers in the best cars, and we've all fallen in love with Formula 1 because we see these drivers going flat out through corners and as fast as possible. Everyone, all of us, everybody.
Me. But some other people can have their love of Formula 1 for other reasons. That's what I'm saying, Jonathan. Keep the big eye on what we are doing. Today, we are bigger than racing around the track or having the best driver in the world. We have that. But just thinking that is more important than anything else. Sorry if I interrupt.
Yeah, that's fine. But what about when we see these cars lose 50 kilometres at the end of straights? Lando says it hurts your soul. The drivers don't like it. It doesn't look great on television, and more people follow races on television than they do trackside. Does that not concern you?
No, because honestly, it's something that, as I said, is related to a technology solution that has been, let's say, needed to be here. If we want to talk about the sex of the engine, we can talk about it. that is the relevance part of it. And the beauty of Formula 1 is that these points, through the developments, through the things that we need to do, will be solved. For the one that, like me, are following racing since when I was a baby, and who loves to see everyone is pushing like crazy. But this is part of the nature of the situation we're in. So I don't see all these things that are so frustrating. The vast majority of people watch around the world are not caring about jewel, mega jewel, these clips, super clips. They don't know what we're talking about. So we need to stand up and explain to them the great form of Formula 1 that it is today. That is our role. And I don't want to dismiss, the thing that you are pushing me on that. I'm not an engineer. I don't want to be an engineer. I'm not interested in engineer. I'm listening, but the engineer is part of the bigger picture of what we are producing. And this is really what is relevant to me. And of course, every one of us has a different role. But for me, the bigger picture is the success of the sport. That today, as I said, and really thank you also to you, is in a great moment.
But what's your message to the hardcore fans? Because there is this impression that
I'm the hardcore fan.
You're obsessed with the casual fan
who
come and go.
No. I'm the most hardcore fan because I was born in Imola and I was following races since I was a kid. So I'm the hardcore fan that has a neutral eye on that respect. The hardcore fan, what I want to see in China. There was the fastest time of the race, was the fastest record time on the history of motorsport. That's the answer. So if in certain places not there, it will arrive. So that's the nature of keep pushing, try to implement what you have. And that is the nature of a sport. And that's the beauty of a sport. So, as I said, enjoy and watch your heroes because they are still the best driver in the world. And this is really what will be always in the future in Formula 1.
But I think what unifies all of the fans in any form, however they consume it, whether we want to call them hardcore purists, new fans, old fans, one of the key elements, I would imagine, of the brand equity of Formula One is that these are the fastest, most powerful cars. And they are, but they are not the most powerful all the time. This to me is the big problem. The one which I do think is a problem, which is the fact that
I don't think so.
You lose a big chunk of your power. So
I don't think so. Because the electric cars in the main straight is faster than a Formula One car. Electric power in the main straight, 1 to 100, it's faster. But who cares? It's a different context. You're, in my opinion, of course, you are taking one element that you think is the only thing that is relevant. It is important, no doubt, but it's not only that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I try to explain, at least.
How about the storytelling element? Because as you rightly pointed out, nobody expects you to trash your own product like we saw in 2014. There was a lot of negativity. It feels to me like, as you said, you said you're not defensive, but it feels to me like the messaging from F1 as a whole, the storytelling on the technical side, which is part of it, because even if people don't care about the detail of the technical, the appeal of the high tech is part of the premium brand, isn't it?
No doubt.
So people like to know it's there. And how well do you think those stories have been told? Because I think that's an area where perhaps over the past few months, F1 as a whole, not F1 the company specifically, has perhaps fallen down, because there's some great stories there, but nobody's talking about the sustainable fuel element. The advanced sustainable fuels is potentially a great story, but none of the companies are talking about it particularly. Do you feel,
this is a very good point.
Do you feel that there's lessons there in terms of what you and all the teams and everybody is doing in terms of actually you can overcome negative coverage by telling the positive stories?
I think that there's been too much focus on comments of certain drivers, that has been taking a lot of discussion of the hardcore fans on that direction. That is something that is, if I would say, as you were saying, the lesson learned. I mean, these kind of things should have been handled in a different way, that's for sure. Not because you don't need to cover anything, because there are so many positive elements. And I once again go back to the things that is stating the obvious. This change was needed to keep Formula One relevant in the ecosystem of motorsport. Otherwise, we forget the genesis of everything. So that is the only thing that lesson learned. I think that the focus of people that are responsible for sport was taken out in the wrong place. That's what I can say. Yes, definitely so.
So looking ahead, to come back to the future engine regulations, what's your current mindset and thinking on the timeline? Because 2031 is the current basic timeline. Are you thinking you remain with that and you start to build up those regulations, those plans longer term? And what are the key driving forces? What are the things you want to do in terms of tuning the on-track product to just further improve
I
Formula
think
One?
that what is clear, as a result, the regulators, the FIA, so the FIA has the responsibility to propose a package. I think that in these years is pretty clear that the attention of full electric automotive industry is gone out. So the fact that we were the first once again to focus on hybrid and sustainable fuel could take that direction further in the future. Also to consider what you said about the batteries, the weight of the car. So I think we could be in a good spot to redefine, the central of the weight of the cars. That is a very important point that with the batteries, unfortunately, has gone in a certain direction. And therefore, I believe that the FIA will be ready to discuss that, keeping the sustainable fuel once again at the center of the technical equation, and trying to find a different balance between the hybridization versus the internal combustion engines. That's what I think it will happen. In terms of technical moment of this entry, of course, the new moment where this could come in could be 31, but then the discussion will be addressed by the FIA with the manufacturer, the engine manufacturer, to see if this eventual new proposition that will come and discussed presented soon will be or could be possible to anticipate. That's something that we will discuss this year.
But do you think the start of this season has accelerated the need to make a change, or do you think it's actually taken the pressure off to do anything?
No, it's not a pressure. It's a problem of identifying how is the evolution of the things. 5 years ago, not 50 years ago, everyone was convinced on the manufacturer that was the only way for them to be investing in motorsport. So this is factual. Today, you see that it will not be the future. This will not be the case anymore. Therefore, we are just discussing now 5 years in advance, as it was done 5 years ago, with no thinking negatively behind or thinking what is the why is doing that. It's normal sequence of the discussion time. So I don't think so.
What about the process itself in terms of who should define where it goes? Because a lot of these regulations were defined by the need to attract manufacturers. We lost the MGUH because of it. The 50-50 power split was there. What will the process be different in terms of who you should listen to next time, and what
the process will be different?
Should be?
The process will be maybe different with the FIA presenting a proposition, knowing the situation of the actual motorsport involved in the sport, that will consider the situation that today, what is different from 5 years ago, I do believe that the manufacturer will not anymore in a position to say that's the only way to go. So that's the main different topic that is definitely here if you compare it 5 years ago. So I think that it's in a way we are in a situation that we are less, if I want to say, in a corner where 5 years ago we were. That's why there could be more possibility to have different options that the FA can present to the manufacturer and in agreement with us and in agreement with what is the best for Formula One. Yes.
But presumably, if the current regulations, the current power units are a good product, is there not an argument therefore on that basis to not change to continue with them?
No, I tell you why. It's not a problem of continuity. The cost of the power unit is too high. That is definitely. And we have the duty to make sure that this business is sustainable. We need to have products that are technologically relevant, and therefore the cost of this is too high. And the other thing that is related to the weight, we do believe on that because of the constraint that we discussed before, if there is a new opportunity to have a weight reduced, and the only way to reduce is to reduce the dimension and the weight of the battery, has to be considered for Formula One.
And that weight aspect in the battery seems to be, I mean, we can disagree about whether there's a problem or not, but that's the fundamental limiting factor, isn't it? Because with the current cars, if you had a 12 megajoule battery, let's say, it would resolve and eliminate the charging and harvesting problems pretty much. Mm-hmm. But that creates major weight problems, and you have made gains from the cars being lighter. I watched sprint qualifying at 1, 2, 3 in China. The cars look really good and nimble in the slow corners. They are definitely an improvement. You can see that. Mm-hmm. I say there's losses elsewhere. So again, that comes back to the thing of it is a limiting factor on the technology that you're having to lug around a lot of this for the hybridization. That's something you can't get around. Even energy density of batteries has improved a lot. There's a limit. There's a physics limit that you're always going to come into with that direction.
I think so, but as I said, this is part of the package that has to be considered to improve eventually the car itself as a sort of the lightest car that you can have with the technology that you have to use it. And as I said, this is part, and I know that you are very focused on that, but this is a part of the bigger picture of what is Formula One. And in my duty of commercial right holder, you understand what I mean? Yeah, I want to make sure that all these elements are considered with the right weight. And the right weight is to consider what is the best for the product that the people wants to see. You have fans that are following you because you are the best on presenting to you, that know every single details of the car. If you ask to the vast majority of the people, what is under the bonnet, they're going to say that we see the four wheels. So we need to be balanced on that and give the right proper attention of the technology that has to be always relevant. And I use that word because relevancy for me is the right word that is very important from the technological aspect, on which I'm not the expert, from the commercial aspect, from the relevance in terms of awareness of the business, and the relevance is also important to attract the partners that are really need to sustain this business that is growing so much. So all these elements are very, very important to develop a platform that today is very, I would say, recognized one of the most important platforms in the world of sport and business and entertainment.
You're someone who's always very positive about Formula One. Bernie Ecclestone would always criticise it whenever it became a trademark. You're the other extreme, always positive, upbeat. If you weren't happy with aspects of regulations, would you say so? Or do you always...
I answer to you, yes, in the right way, with the right people. I'm not a guy that use the mic to talk about the things that has to be improved because I think it's wrong. I think that the right way to do is like in a good family. You shout inside the walls and you don't shout outside. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help you. So if there are things that, as I'm doing, that I feel that has to be changed, you will never see me use this mic or you as be the loudspeaker of the things that I think has to be improved. I think it's a wrong way and a very mature way to manage business. We have the duty to respect, people that have invested on us. And therefore, if there is something that has to be improved, as always in life, there is something to improve everywhere. You do it in the right way, in the right forum, with the right people, and in the right context.
But do you not think that creates a bit of a disconnect between those fans that are engaged in the sport, don't particularly like aspects they see, they think you're too positive, they get conspiracy theories about you hiding onboard cameras or removing...
Thank you for telling me that, because that means the people have not a lot of things to do, to be honest with you, because honestly, it's crazy to think that we protect something. This is our package. This is what we want to show to the people. I want to get out of this negativity because I don't feel the negativity. Honestly, I don't feel the negativity. I love it. But saying that, we are listening to everyone. You know me. I'm listening to everyone. I'm not shouted. I not shut my door not to listen to the comment. I'm always listening. But there is the right thing to listen and to act if there is something to improve or if there is something that you feel that there is really a big problem that you have to tackle. That's the right thing, that at least you always find me as an approach that will have whatever we have to talk, because today you are obsessed with this make a jewel battery, but have to be obsessed with other things that for me to develop the sport are even more important. So this is something that for me the approach is no change, no difference. Listening is very crucial. Listening to the people who really are not having this kind of conspiracy theory behind is always very important, because everyone can teach something to us. But of course, someone has to make the synthesis, because someone has to have the bigger picture to manage.
Related to that, obviously coming back to the statement you made earlier about the majority of fans of shapes are positive about it. Obviously, there'll be plenty of people watching and listening to this who are thinking, well, we're not. So who are you listening to? Are you,
yes,
like you say, you want to listen to everyone? And I would say one thing in terms of, I'm always wary about categorizing fans, because there's so many. One of the great things Formula One has done actually is create many, many more different types of fans, which is very, very positive. But how can you convince people that they are being listened to? Where are you getting your evidence for the statement that the majority are positive, beyond the sort of generalities of the health of the sport, but the specifics of what we've seen over the past couple of months in particular?
Well, the answer is the meeting that we had this week. If we want to listen to anyone, we say, listen, this is what it is, and if you like it. So, as always, with facts, we are listening. And therefore, with facts, we are listening and doing the right thing in the right way, involving the right people and listening. And of course, by listening doesn't mean that you always agree with what they're saying. Because as you know, there are people who love to say something negative even if they don't know what they're talking about. Because I will love to hear the explanation from a lot of non-engineered people talking about the clips, super clips, mega chips. I'm laughing because of that. But I'm saying that the process that we have taken is just to show to the fans that are really not loving what we're doing, that we listen to them, because we respect everyone. We respect all our fans, from the first to the last, whatever you put in terms of classification, because everyone is very important to us. But someone has to be, let's say, smart enough to understand that if certain things from the technical perspective has happened, there is the reason why has happened. It was not really because you wanted to take away, for example, the need to push in qualifying. There are technical elements that, unfortunately, took that as a sort of situation. But the developer, for one, that's my experience, will take that quite fast in terms of improving, in terms of development. So that's the beauty of F1.
So what's your measure of, for want of a better phrase, approval rating? How do you measure that? Because I'm coming back to this statement about the majority of fans are enthusiastic and positive about it, and obviously those numbers, if you can put numbers on it, that changes that's evidence, isn't it? That's, I think, what we want to see. And if we can say to fans watching,
you can speak with Liam and give you all the numbers. I mean, we speak with our broadcaster. I don't care, honestly. I don't understand why you want to be so in that respect. That I will respect your position. I mean. It's what you see. People are following us. You see the number of contests that we are creating. People are interested on that. Sorry to say that. And if someone he wants to keep being negative or talking about that, there are technical limitations that you cannot improve, and you do it, full stop. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. And what I can say, if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you don't like it, but you follow us, I'm very happy. If you like it and if you change it, I'm very sorry. Our duty is to make sure that you are captured back again. But what for me? I don't understand what you for me to say, because more than that, I'm saying what I think, and I'm saying really that you are taking the focus on something that is very important, but is not the topic of the world. But that's what I'm saying.
But the question there is about the positive, and that's what we're trying to see, right? Let's see the clear indication of the positive, because the trouble is, if you tell people, well, most are positive, that doesn't carry much weight, does it? And you might absolutely. I'm not asking it as a.
But Ed, sorry, I'm interested to see numbers. I'm interested to see the interests of people that are coming, are interested of following us, are interested in being our partners. You think that a sponsor or partners will be interested to be here if they feel in their following that there is a sport that is going bad? I mean, we have the queue of people, you will see, queue of country that wants to host a Grand Prix. This is something that is a value for my business analysis. So, as I say, I'm not following social media personally. I don't have even social media, so that's maybe why you are hitting someone that is not heated, because I don't have it. But I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm following all the dimension of the sport that we need to control. So I see that is all this negativity that from a little piece of let's say, our old core fans are coming. I take it on board. I take it from what I can do. But as I said, I think that we are doing everything to make sure that this sport is in a great shape. And this is my duty, our duty, because it's really what we love and what we see we have done so far. So that's what I can say.
What's your philosophical view on overtaking? Is it the final number is the most important, or is it the quality and that an overtake should be memorable?
Overtaking, technically speaking, is someone is moving in front of the others if you take the book. So it's a matter of, you say, once again, you remember, there was not enough overtaking. And there was the DRS. This is artificial overtaking. And then you go to Japan, great track, beautiful track, zero overtaking. So you don't have to give an answer. I think overtaking means an action. If an action is because you're better in braking or better in managing what you have, in managing your energy in this moment, is an overtaking. If this is taking action, you may have your opinion, I may have my own opinion. The overtake that we have seen so far in the first 3 races has been really good. Some other, less interesting, some really good. Wheel-to-wheel racing has been phenomenal because, the less stable the cars are, the more possibility for the driver to show who they are in terms of keeping the car sort of in the right way. So far we have seen that. So I think this is really the thing that we should focus on.
Now, looking at the longer term again, obviously you say you're responsible for the commercial growth of the sport. Do you ever feel a bit limited by the way Formula One is set up? Because you've got a certain level of control, but you've got the teams and then a lot of engineers in teams. You've got the FIA, and you will have very clear ideas of direction. There's still huge growth potential in Formula One. I mean, USA, people talk about the growth there, but I'd argue it's all been positive, but you've only really scratched the surface of how much there is there. So firstly, what do you need to do to really tap into that more? And secondly, do you have the leeway and the control needed to do that, given the way that Formula One is set up as you're one of apparently basically 3 elements of it?
Well, thank you for that, but I don't think so. You don't know very well the system. I think that, yes, the credibility we have put in place in terms of showing what has been taken, the sport to, has been proving that what we have taken in terms of decisions are the right one. Therefore, it's true that the governance is different. The American sport has one commissioner who decides everything with a big, ownership behind this different system. But we have that one. The relationship with the FIA are very, very strong. That means that we can really divide, our business together. And the relationship with the teams that drive is super good. And we wouldn't be able, without our credibility, to bring the sport at this dimension, because without having the face to prove that what we want to do is the right thing. Because you in a way, you say something that is related to the governance for certain things, but in terms of commercial decision, in terms of promotion opportunity, this is really something that we do, and I thanks the teams and all the ones that are part of this ecosystem to believe in what we are doing, because it's proven with facts that we have not a really crazy idea, but they're really good to improve the sport at all level.
So you feel you've got the same kind of potential as some of these entities, NFL, IPL in India is a good emergent. Well, it has emerged, but it's growing very, very rapidly. You feel you've got that same sort of leeway, because Formula One is a very tricky, complicated sport in terms of being global, and that's a great strength overall, but it does create its own challenges given how wide a territory you're operating over, and it does mean there's a lot more plates to keep spinning, shall we say.
Well, I think that what we wanted to achieve is what we saw, and the potential of our growth in other markets. You're right, Ed. I mean, it's not only US, there are other countries. I think that the thing that we want to do is to have a long-term deal in order for the promoters that believe in us can invest. We are in front of a couple of years where it could be some other places where we can decide to stay or to go in other places. So we are in a great shape on that. I mean, I go back to what you're saying. If you would not be attractive, you wouldn't have your bell ringing. And we have the bell ringing every day in terms of new partners, new promoters, new countries that wants to host it. So that's something which I can say it has been great to see how the teams and the FA, of course, have seen the right direction that we are given. So I think that in the next couple of years, this sport will continue to grow with the same kind of pace. And we know that our point that has to be at the center, we are a global sport. And, the geopolitical situation, as you know very well, is something that we cannot control, but we need to have different plans in order to react and take the right decision. And hopefully, so far, we have proven to take the right one for the best of the sport, considering the place where we are.
How challenging is that situation? How challenging has it been where we are now? How challenging is it going to be amid the ongoing uncertainty regarding the end of the season? Or how do you future-proof against this into 27?
We have plans. We are not stupid. We don't think about megajoule. We think about the things that are relevant for the sport. Therefore, hopefully, the situation of the world will improve. We cannot answer to that. I mean, I would love to have the answer, not only for the sport. And therefore, we know that together with the relevant places, we will take the right decision at a certain moment to see how the thing will improve. You see that things are changing, I don't want to say almost every day, so we need to be ready to take action, and we will, because we have a process for that. So, but go back to what you're saying, I'm a positive guy, I'm always a positive guy, so hopefully the things will improve. To think badly doesn't change. The only thing that I can say is really, if this will not happen, of course, we have the duty to have different option for which we have.
Do you think for the next season you'll need to rethink the calendar concept for more flexibility or different venues?
No,
or do you think you can carry on as normal?
I think we as I said, we would love to think that we can carry a normal business. If not, we have other option. But I really want to think that is because this is bigger than sport. The affection that we can have is bigger than sport. So I want to really be optimistic of our future.
Where are the growth opportunities in terms of the products, do you feel? Because obviously you've got one racing series, you've got 24 races.
We have only one. We have F2, we have F3, we have F1 Academy.
Well,
we have a big package. Today, if you come into Miami, we don't have any single spot from the moment, sorry if I interrupt you, from the moment we start to have the light up to the moment we have in the road line. So it's a bigger package.
But F2, F3 and Academy, good as they are, they're not doing a huge amount of heavy lifting, are they? They commercially, I
big one in terms of money, big one. I guarantee to you. Mm-hmm. But sorry, you wanted to focus on Formula 1, but Formula 2 and Formula 3 and F1 Academy commercially have a huge interest. We have seen a big growth in the last couple of years, and
in terms of partners and that kind of thing.
In terms of investment, in terms of people bringing the attention to that 100%. But Formula 1, I mean, I think the dimension that we can grow, it's of course. The way that we are shifting the sport versus B2B to versus B2C. Do you see all the different deals that we have done? You see some behind me. It's related to the fact that we want to get into the fans and having the understanding on how we can really being able to commercialize the relationship and get in with the younger fans in order to attract them in the sport as young as possible by growing the dimension of licensing, growing the dimension of merch, growing the dimension of offering different package to every single fan what they want to achieve. I mean, if you are interested in the technology of Formula 1, we should offer to you content of technology, forum on technology. If you are interested in lifestyle of Formula 1, we should offer to you some events related to that. You understand what I mean? So these are the areas where we should really focus on our future to develop and keep growing the sport. And on top of that, there is the possibility of having a sort of keeping the quality high, more digital tools to enable for partners to exploit what they want to achieve through our platform. And that's something that will enable us to grow, keeping the quality high, more business that is interested to use our platform.
And in terms of the American market specifically, is there more that can be done in terms of tailoring the product? Because you have certain limitations of time zones. You've made adjustments to try and accommodate that, but there's obviously difficulties there. And then there's other problems of going up against, let's just say, NFL. It was quite an intensive period. You are going kind of directly in competition with that at times. And
it's a tough competition there because there's a much. I said to be relevant in US to be culturally relevant, And today we are, and you said correct. What I say is we are scratching the surface because the other sports are in the life of the Americans. It's part of their life. And if you think that here you go and see college sport, there are 70,000 people watching every day on news, so we are talking about the dimension is huge. I think that we are trying to be strong with our narrative. It is true that a stronger American driver could help because the face, you see what is the effect of the big sportsmen, sport women in the country as an effect. So that will be a great things that could help the business to grow. But once again, it's a matter of being there. In the old days, we were there 3 days and moving out. I think that now with the Apple deals, with the things that we want to improve together, with the fact that we have Cadillac into the sport, they can push with us as American team. So we can try to be even more relevant. That's the only way for us to be stronger. If you ask me, can you compete with an NFL game today? If I say yes, you will say I'm stupid, and I'm not.
And overall, where do you think F1 now is in terms of the kind of the phases of the overall growth and evolution? We've seen Liberty has achieved an enormous amount in a relatively short amount of time, but everybody on the outside thinking, what's the next thing? And that's everything. That's rules. That's the on-track product, the way it's broadcast. That's all the additional stuff you're talking about. F1 movie. There's a sequel coming. What's the new frontiers you're specifically going to be pushing to? What's the new Drive to Survive, for example? What's the new F1 movie? I know those are almost lightning in a bottle moments, aren't they? But you need to keep coming up with them.
The good thing is that we just finished with our shareholder, the meeting on strategy of the next 5 years. And the good thing is that I see the lines keeping up the same kind of shape that has been done so far with contents. With the activation, with facts that allow me to say that we are just really in the middle of a next step trajectory that will enable us to keep the growth very high, keeping at the center the same kind of foundation, but developing in a different way every single element of the revenue stream that we are having. So that is something that I see with facts that will happen even the next year, 5 years for sure. Then after, I don't have this crystal ball, and actually wouldn't be maybe my future after that. I don't know, but I'm so focused that we need to deliver the beautiful things that we are giving to our fans now, and they can be assured that the sport will grow and will be stable at the top level. And if you look where it is today, Formula 1, I mean, we should be all very proud.
Well, thank you, Stefano. It'd be interesting in a few months or a few years' time to come back and speak to you, and we won't mention super
more than 5 years' time. I hope to be earlier. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, Stefano.
Thank you.
So, you've heard what Stefano Domenicali has to say, but we'd love to hear what you think. So let us know in the comments or on social media your thoughts on everything that he had to say about the current state of Formula One, the future of Formula One, the power units. We hope that we were able to put some of the questions to him that you wanted to hear the answers to and challenge some of his answers as well. We've got a few more podcasts coming up before the next race, including a very special one on F1 race commentary. So stay with us for everything you need to know from the world of Formula One.